Hello, welcome back to Metalhead Nation Garage. I'm Chris, your host, bringing you the rock and metal news of today. Hey, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. And we're going to Iron Maiden's Nico McBrain. He just came out that he fought cancer in 2020, laryngeal cancer. It has something to do with your voice. But yeah, he said it, it was just really strange. His voice was acting up, not right. He said when he said he went on and played them drums and, screamed and hollered and everything like that. He said after the gig, his voice never changed. So he knew there was something wrong when he was just, when his voice was just changing, often at home and things. So, yeah, he went in and got checked, and sure enough, they caught it in time, and he goes back for regular checkups every other month, and all is good. So, congratulations to Nico. So, he's 74 years old. That's what I say, and he's still out there touring and everything. It's a good deal because one of the best drummers out there that's touring right now. So. Kudos to him, and good luck, and hopefully stays cancer free for years to come. Talking about some things here. There's new music here with George Lynch. He's out playing all the time. He's got several projects going on. As of right now, Lynch Mob is opening up for Dokken, his old band. But he did say that, all the new Lynch Mob album is all done. They just got to touch up some vocals on it, and will be released. Kind of thing that's funny about that, he... maybe a couple years ago, when everything was going kind of crazy and things, he dropped a Lynch Mob, and I don't know if they thought it was racist or what have you, but he dropped it and said he wouldn't perform again. And I don't know, a couple months ago he started to go back to it, because honestly, some of these musicians that are on that name, they really don't know George Lynch, but they know Dokken. They know Lynch Mob, and that makes a big difference as far as sales, tours, and things of that. But I wanted to touch on him a little bit, on when he came up in the 70s and things, because at that time he came up, he was playing rounds in the clubs in Sunset Strip and out in LA with Eddie Van Halen. So at that time it was kind of the flashy guys was Eddie and George. So kind of ironic that how long he's been around and still going and still playing great. I mean, I liked him in Dokken. I mean, golly, that Dokken band back in the day when they was out there just making albums in the 80s. I mean, Lord have mercy. Breaking the Chains was their first one in 81. You had Tooth and Nail, which is my favorite. A lot of hits off that. And Under Lock and Key, Back for the Attack, Dysfunctional. But them 80 albums, man, they was great. And they was, I seen them on tour. They was opening up when I seen them for Dio at that time. But there was no better band than Dokken in the 80s. They was really climbing the ranks and quick. And I mean, and Lynch he's a heck of a guitar player. He was really leading the way. Not Jeff Pearson, great bass player. And this guy, he's in Foreigner now, and he's actually with George in another band called In Machine, which are working on a new album too, their third one, if you haven't heard it. But that's what I was saying. George is just staying busy. But it's too bad on that Dokken, that they broke up and things. I don't know so much, but getting some feedback on here, George and Don never got along, but um, usually you can not get along and still go out and tour, right? Or go out and play and take a break and come back and do it. But them two guys are like oil and water. It just didn't work out for them on that. But again, George, he's a different type of style player, really good. I mean, Mr. Scary, wow, that's probably one of my favorite songs from him. If you have a favorite song, put it in the comments and tell us, what album you liked, or and with Dokken and things, and get back with us there on the comments for sure. And and if you did see him, I know there's some older ones out here around here. If you've seen him in the clubs or something, give us a comment. Tell us what it was like, because at that time, I know when him and Eddie was doing that, Richie Blackmore actually came over to LA and wanted to see the scene too. And actually, he was more looking at Eddie just to see his style of play and what have you. So interesting, because and I tell you who's back there too is a great guitar player. One of the greatest was Randy Rhoads, and the story goes on that Randy, he always stayed by himself, or he's with he's with Quiet Riot when he started out, and then went to Ozzy. But in them club days, it was Quiet Riot, and he stayed with that band. He really never went out and seen anybody play. He was into classical. I mean, he was into a lot of music. But the story goes, David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen always went to Quiet Riot concerts wherever they played in LA in that scene. Whether it was a backyard party or was it was at the Rainbow or wherever it was at, the local high school. The Eddie and Dave was supposedly there, so there was kind of a rivalry there then at that time with Quiet Riot and Van Halen, but Van Halen prevailed on that. So, but when Randy went to Ozzy, yeah, he took that by storm, because them first couple albums of Ozzy's are absolutely great. With Randy Rhoads. That's the only one I like. I like a little bit of the J.E. Lee Ozzy group, but I like the Randy Rhoads the best. But I'm just reminiscing back then. Couldn't you imagine that? I mean, and I think in the Midwest here, we have back in the day, there was some big scenes like I had up in Detroit, right? You have Motown, you have rock. I mean, there's a lot of musicians that came out there back in the day. One of them, Alice Cooper, Bob Seger, just to name a couple there. That great bands there and artists. I wanted to get to a little bit, Skid Row was in the news today. They're just doing some interviews and things while they're on hiatus for a couple months. As Dave Sabo is recuperating from surgery, but they was doing a interview in UK, and they was just talking about one of the interview just asking said, hey, you guys millionaires? And this would be Sabo and Rachel Bolan, so they was doing the interview, but without hesitation, they said, "Yeah, we're millionaires. Yeah, we have money. We made a lot of hits back in the day, and I didn't know this, but think about this: Skid Row sold 23 million albums, so that's pretty stellar for a metal band coming out. I did know that." That one album went #1, Slave to the Grind. And I think that was, it may have been the first metal album to go #1. But correct me if I'm wrong. You guys put it in comments. But yeah, number one for slaving to the grind. But yeah, 23 million, you know, and that's kind of cool. And that might be the reason why they're not getting back with Sebastian Bach, their original lead singer, which I wouldn't do it anyways. Their new album and the new singer is just killer. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, and you got that'll do it for this episode, and we'll see you next time on the Metalhead Nation Garage.